Welcome everybody to our first cooking show with Suzanne Burstein. Thank you, Suzanne, for doing this.
Hello,
Making potato latkes with Suzanne. Take it away, Suzanne. Thank you all for being here today.
Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Happy Hanukkah.
First, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a pound of potatoes, which I have measured these two on my scale. So this is approximately a pound. And then we're going to put them on a cutting board. Take a knife and we're going to slice them so that they'll fit into the food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you can use one of these graters, probably on this side right here, to get them to grate to the right size.
Hold on for 1 second. I'm unmute. I'm asking everybody to unmute themselves. So if you want Suzanne to go a little slower or repeat something, just call out so she can stop. But if you want to keep yourself unmuted, that's okay too. I'm gonna just allow you to unmute yourselves, but just let Suzanne keep talking. But if you want her to repeat or you have questions, just call them out, okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
This is fun.
Good, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay, so then after I get them sliced to the right size, I'm going to put them into the food processor.
You'll note that she did not peel the potatoes because that's where a lot of the vitamins are in the skin. So it makes it easier too, because all you have to do is clean them, wash them. Maybe if there's a couple of eyes on the potato, you might want to take those out.
Oh, yes.
Suzanne, do you put the onions in with it?
No, not yet.
I'm going to do those separately because the onions, well, I'm using a different blade for my onions. I'm using the shredder blade in the food processor to do the grating of the potatoes. Now I've got the potatoes in the size of what they're going to be to get into the food processor. So I have this little thing that you put on top of it to kind of mush it down. I'm going to turn on my food.
Suzanne, if you don't have a food processor, you were going to show them something else.
Yeah, I did. The grater. I'll show it again.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. I'm going to turn on my food processor.
That would probably take at least 20 minutes to 30 if you were doing them by hand.
I hope most of you have a food processor. It's a
I do.
high-end device. I highly recommend it. Okay. After that's done, your potatoes will look like this. See how they're shredded? Like hash browns. And then the next step would be to take the potatoes and put them in an ice cold water bath. Like that. So that's what I'm going to do next. And the reason you do that is so that the potatoes don't get black.
Make sure you face the speaker, Suzanne, when you're talking.
So the reason you do that is because you don't want it to get black. Okay, so you leave it in there for a minute or two. All right, so good on that.
And how much water do you put in?
It was a bowl of ice water. It was like a large, not a medium-sized bowl.
Did you fill it up?
I haven't about halfway.
Good job, Suzanne.
For a minute or two, and then thing I'm going to do is, I know Emily said she already chopped up her onions.
And show, she's changing the blade for the onions to a different blade. What blade is that, Suzanne, for the onion?
This is what the blade looks like.
Show them the onion before it's cut, honey.
Oh, yes. One onion.
Medium size.
Yeah. A good tip for the onions, if you don't want to cry when you're chopping, if you do hand chop, is to put them in the refrigerator to get them cold. So that's what I recommend. I've already pre-chopped my tomatoes in quarters. So that'll be. I'm going to put those in the food processor. Going to turn that on for a sec. The reason why I like to use the food processor is because it grates it really fine. And so I feel that that gives the flavor of the onions, but not the texture. You know, it doesn't make it like real.
Oh, I'm glad you told me because I had not done them fine by hand, so I'll put them in now.
You can do it either way, but this is just a suggestion.
Do you add that to the potatoes or not? Yeah.
No, you're gonna leave that separate, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your potatoes after they've been sitting for a minute or two, and you can drain them.
You're gonna move the food processor out of the way so they can see everything you're doing and put the towel out.
And so we're kind of done with the food processor now.
Now, what are you doing now?
Okay, so I just did the onions.
What about the onions?
I just put them in the food processor. You said you had chopped yours by hand.
Yeah, but I put them in the food processor to get them finer. So what do you do with them now?
Emily, I suggest you watch everything and then do it.
Okay.
So Emily, she's moving the food processor away because she doesn't need it anymore. She just left the onion, the chopped onion, in the bin for the food processor for right now.
Okay.
The next thing you can do is you can drain your potato mixture because you want to get the water out of it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. Who was asking the question?
No question.
Somebody's asking a question.
No.
No? Okay. So Suzanne, you forgot to show the towel what you're doing.
I haven't done that yet.
Not up to the towel yet.
Yeah. She's actually putting the potatoes onto the white bath towel
I put it
into a colander.
First I did it in a colander to get as much moisture out of it as possible. That's what it's doing. It's draining now. Okay. And we don't need ice cubes in there either. I'm taking that all out. Squeeze it out. Then, after that, I have a bath towel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the potato mixture. I'm going to put it inside the bath towel. I'm going to squeeze out the liquid.
Get closer to the speaker, Suzanne.
Squeeze out the liquid in the towel. Here's my towel.
Can't you use cheesecloth?
You can do that too, but I like a towel.
Because then you don't have the fuzzy stuff.
This is a brand new towel.
You're going to waste a brand new towel. Okay.
No, it'll all wash out afterwards.
It goes in the wash, trust me.
A chef uses a cheesecloth. It's okay.
Well, I like to do it in the towel.
It's okay. You're entitled.
Absorbing.
You're entitled.
So you can do a cheesecloth, but to me that seems like more work.
Talk towards the speaker, Suzanne.
You can do a cheesecloth if you want, whatever you prefer. I'm squeezing out the towel. Here's the towel. Just squeeze it in there.
So all the potatoes, the grated potatoes are all in the clean towel.
Then I'm going to take another bowl. Put all the potatoes into the bowl. Okay.
Typically, you'd be making more than 2 potatoes worth. You might have 6 or so, or maybe more.
For demonstration purposes. Otherwise, I spend hours in the kitchen doing it. Okay, so once you got that done, put it aside. Okay. Then you can
You're gonna take
your onions and you can mix them with the potato mixture. Okay, so I'm going to pour into this bowl here.
Put it up on the, Suzanne, put it up on the top.
Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take 1 egg, or if you want to use egg substitute, you can do that too.
You're gonna set this aside, Suzanne, the onion potato mixture, so that we can see what you're doing. Okay. Okay, there's a question. Can you hold up for a minute, Suzanne?
Sure.
Marla has a question. Marla, I'm asking you to unmute.
Hi. I got here late, so I didn't see what you did to the potatoes to cut them,
just too
break them in the food processor.
Okay, so she washed the potatoes first and cleaned them of their eyes and whatever, and did not peel them. She quartered them and put them right in the food processor with the skin.
With the blade that's on the bottom or through the grating thing on the top?
She put them in through the chute, but she used the shredder blade on the food processor.
On top.
And your potatoes will look like this if you use the right one.
Okay.
You got to use the shredder.
All right,
They're almost like hash browns, like a consistency of hash browns.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
And how many potatoes did you use? Just 1 or 2?
I had 2, that was £1 pound. 2 medium-sized potatoes. I use golden potatoes. I like those the most.
I have a question, Suzanne. If you were to use 6 potatoes, would you need then 3 eggs and 3 onions?
If you use more potatoes, then yes, you'll just multiply it on the recipe.
Okay.
How many eggs did you put in, Suzanne?
I haven't put the eggs in yet, but I have 1 egg for the £1 pound of potatoes. I'm just going to beat the eggs slightly.
And what kind of potatoes did you say you used?
I use golden.
What?
Golden potatoes.
And what kind of onions?
These were
White.
just
Yellow onion.
Yellow onions, yeah. You can use any kind of onions, but I think the yellow onions have less moisture because you don't want it to have too much moisture.
Yeah, you would. I don't think you'd want to use a red one, right?
I'm just pouring the egg into the mixture. So it looks like that.
Turn it a little bit sideways so they can see it. Okay, so you've got egg, you've got potatoes, and you've got onions so far.
So then
now we're going to season them, Suzanne. You want to leave them up on the boxes so that they can see what you're doing.
I put a little salt in and pepper. You can always do it like afterwards if you want. I just put a little bit in while I'm cooking, but that's up to you because You can taste them when they're cooked and you can add the flavoring if you want them. That's how I do it.
So you're seasoning for taste. To your
Right.
own you know, if you don't want to put salt in, you don't have to put salt in.
It will taste terrible with no salt. Be tasteless.
Yes, but
salt
some people
brings out flavors.
Yes.
Not only does it have its own.
Some people can't use salt though because of the sodium, but
Just a pinch.
yeah, pinch, right. Absolutely.
Then after that, I just mix it all together. So it looks like that, one unified mixture. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your oil ready.
Show the frying pan that you're using, Suzanne.
Second here, I'm going to move some of these things away.
Suzanne, I'm sorry, did you add the eggs?
Yes, I added 1 egg.
It's not a good
Lightly-
idea to be
lightly
doing it at the
beaten.
same time if you're in another room.
There you go.
Gotcha.
So she's got 2 potatoes, she's got 1 onion, and she's got the 1 egg and a little bit of salt and pepper so far. You show the frying pan, Suzanne?
I'm going to do that in a second here.
Okay.
Move some of these things out of the way. All right. I've got this frying pan here.
Non-stick surface, preferably. You have to measure the oil first, Suzanne.
Well, I'm going to show you that I'm pouring the oil. First, I'm going to put this stove on like a medium-high heat.
Okay, we can barely hear you, so you're going to have to angle it so that you can hear. Okay.
I can put the frying pan on medium-high heat.
And you're also matching the size of the burner to the pan, the larger burner, a little bit more than medium.
People never cooked before.
Yeah.
I'm reading your mind, Suzanne.
It's all right. It's okay. I take a measuring cup. Now, I usually just pour oil in, but the recipe said a ½ cup of oil.
You're using olive oil?
I use olive oil, yes.
But others will do, right? I mean, canola is
Resin or
fine
corn
too.
oil?
Yeah, you can use whatever kind of oil you want to have. Absolutely. So first I'm going to heat up the pan a little bit. Then I'm going to pour the oil in. I'll show you what it looks like.
Not seeing it, Suzanne. Okay.
Screen down.
Okay.
Didn't see it.
All right.
Suzanne, if you had to cook, you're only going to cook a few latkes, but if you were cooking, I don't know, a dozen, and all that could fit in the pan would be 3 or 4 at a time, would you need to add additional oil as you're going to do more latkes?
Yes, you will put more oil in as you see needed, because you don't want the oil to get low on the pan, because otherwise your latkes won't come out very good. And another tip is that you want to make sure that the latkes are fully cooked before you turn them, because otherwise they'll fall apart.
And also about the heat of the oil, Suzanne.
Yes, well, what you guys like to do to make sure the oil is hot enough.
Make sure you turn towards the speaker, Sue.
Make sure the oil is hot enough. You can just drizzle a little bit of water in it. And then when it sizzles in the pan, you'll know that it's hot enough. Because you definitely want your oil to be hot enough. Or otherwise, the latkes won't cook properly. So it takes a few minutes for the pan to heat up.
Maybe 3 to 5 minutes for the oil to be the right heat.
And we're just waiting for the water to sizzle. And once it gets to the sizzle, I have a spoon this size that I'm using. And usually you put enough potatoes in to make about a 3-inch round latke.
Is that a soup tablespoon, Suzanne, to your, or is it larger?
It's larger than a soup spoon. You could use a tablespoon as well. You know, you make them the size you want them to be, okay? Joel has a nice background of latkes.
Yes.
So you can look at his. You can make whatever size you want it to be is the best. You don't want to put too many in the pan though at once because then they get crowded.
How long do you cook them, Suzanne?
It's cook them for approximately 5 minutes on each side. And you'll know that they're done when it's ready to go. I'm using this kind of a spatula because it'll help drain them.
Because why?
It'll help, you know, drain the oil off of them.
Oh,
because you don't want them to be too greasy.
And then what else do you have something else ready to put the latkes in? So you want to show that?
Well, after that, I have a plate
Paper towel,
with a paper towel for the bottom and one for the top. And I will, after I take it out of the pan, I will just drain them.
Okay, so we're ready to make the latkes now, right? So you have to turn the computer so that it can see the frying pan. And we see Rusty. Rusty's there. Rusty's waiting for remnants of latkes. He's salivating, ready. That's perfect, Suzanne. And I see it sizzling. It's ready to go.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is just kind of pop them in there and pound it down a little.
Try to talk into the speaker if you can.
I just plopped it all into the pan there and patted it down. So it's a nice round latke. Sort of round. Well, you can see it's cooking.
Right. So how do you know when to turn them, Suzanne?
Well, it's supposed to, it says, the recipe says 5 minutes on each side. So I usually get very anxious and usually end up turning them too early. But if you really want them to stay together, you got to cook them. Or otherwise, it's gonna just be mush.
So did you pat them down flat, or did you kind of left them a little bit high, right?
They're like medium size. You can make them whenever you want them to do, but you want it to be a little thick because, yeah.
And typically you could put 4 in there of that size or not in that frying pan?
I put 4 in a pan. That's how many I do. This recipe says it makes about 12 latkes. So I guess depending on the size you make them, that's how they are.
Have you ever put in matzo meal to get it to bind together, or am I imagining that?
No, not
I have no matzo meal. I have no flour in it. The reason why is you really don't need it. The egg is the binder. So that I prefer, otherwise it just tastes very cakey. You could even eat these on Passover if you wanted to.
Yeah, because
I made them.
I didn't cook for 20 years, so I'm maybe imagining that from the
No,
recipe.
they used to do that.
matzo meal pancakes you're thinking of, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
Yes,
matzo meal pancakes, but I thought there was matzo meal in potato pancakes, but I haven't done it for 20 years, so I'm wanting to.
There's nothing, the egg holds it together. So there's no breadcrumbs, there's no matzo meal. Some people do put that in their potato latkes, but this is pure potato, egg, and onion. That's it. Simple ingredients. Emily, how are yours coming out so far? Are you starting to
They
fry
look
yet?
beautiful. They
Excellent.
turn, now when they're done, you put them on the paper towel on the plate, Suzanne?
Right,
Right,
right.
and drain them. And then you
Right.
can serve them with applesauce or sour cream,
Or just by themselves.
or just eat them by themselves.
I like them with salt.
When I
Right.
make them in advance, sometimes I eat them cold because I don't even heat them up the next day.
So one of the things that Ruth Levin was saying prior, was that if you wanted to make multiple recipes and make yourself 36 or 48, whatever number of latkes you'd like to make, you might want to freeze them. And what she does is put them on a cookie sheet and just puts the cookie sheet right into the freezer with the latkes on that cookie sheet, just for maybe 5-10 minutes, just to get a little crisp, a little frozen. And then she can put them in a Ziploc, and then they're not going to stick to each other. Rose wants me to unmute herself because she wants to.
Now, a little more than 5 minutes, maybe about 15 minutes.
Rose, go ahead and ask your question after you've unmuted yourself. I changed the setting.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, what if you don't want to use a potato? What other vegetable can we use? I don't eat potatoes.
Okay, so
Zucchini.
So you can use zucchini, you can use sweet potato, just about probably any squash, acorn squash or butternut squash. My sister does the same recipe with zucchini squash.
Well, that's good. So you just would wring it out, well, the zucchini, because it's full of water.
Yeah.
In the food process, the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
How about a carrot?
And
you could, yeah, you could put a carrot in there.
Like shred a carrot with the zucchini.
Right, right.
It'll make it colorful.
Yep, it would be beautiful.
Yeah, have you ever tried an eggplant?
I haven't.
And neither has my sister. So I don't know how eggplant would do it because it's not the same consistency, Rose. I don't know. You'd have to try it.
I have zucchini, so I'm going to try it with the zucchini.
I think you should do it with zucchini, yes.
You could do a yuca. Do it Spanish style with a yuca.
I don't even know what that is.
A yuca would be closer to a potato. So it has a pretty similar consistency of a white potato. Just a little stringier. Yeah. So a yuca would be perfect.
But it's going to need salt and butter. Yuca is very bland by itself.
I think that might be a hard
my sister-in-law makes yuca, and she actually just cuts it and puts it in the oil on the frying pan and just cooks it that way until it's got a crunchy coating on it, and then puts it in the oven. And it is absolutely delicious. So I don't know if I'd want to make pancakes out of it because it is so good just by itself. So Suzanne's now turning them. They're nice and golden on the one side. And I love the spatula that she's using because it's draining it as she's flipping.
So now they'll cook for another 5 minutes.
And she's got two great little latkes. How much more, your batter, how much more could you make out of that batter? So maybe another 10 latkes. Wow. That was just from those 2 little potatoes, guys. So that was that's amazing. That's great.
If you're doing zucchini, probably you would do a pound of zucchini. Because I think the zucchini and the potato would be similar.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's
a great idea. I'm gonna try it out next time I go to the store.
I guess you just have to really squeeze it.
Well, yeah, that's what she did. She put it after she grated it, she put it in the ice water. And then she put that in the towel and squeezed the towel. So she really got all that moisture out in the towel and then took it back into the bowl. And that kept it. I don't know if you'd need to do that with the zucchini because I don't think the zucchini is going to turn black. So you might need to just drain it in a colander.
You need to get the excess water.
Mush it, keep squeezing that water out though.
Yeah. I would
Yeah,
say
you could just use a spatula in the colander and just squeeze it out in the colander. And your father-in-law is here, Suzanne. Hi, Mel. How are you? It's good to see you.
Time for the latkes. Thanks for
He's
joining us.
waiting to eat the latkes.
Well, if he would like some.
They look great, Suzanne. Does anybody have any other questions? We have the recipe. While she's finishing cooking that, I'm going to put the recipe up to share with you. I will also email this, of course, if you'd like. But this is the recipe. A pound of golden potatoes is what Suzanne used. They were medium size, maybe about 3 inches in 3 to 4 inches in diameter, not real large ones. She used 1 medium onion and she chopped it. She grated it, and 1 large egg. And she used just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste and a 1/2 cup of oil. So I'll leave that up if you want to write that down. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Just take
I'm eating them. They're delicious. Oh my God.
I don't have a question, but I do have a suggestion maybe. I'm always looking to do things quicker, easier. Well, I did learn about not peeling the potatoes. I've never not peeled them. I've always peeled potatoes. So that's a good thing that I learned. But as far as grating it and then have to squeeze all that water out in the towel, can it just, the potatoes be cut up in chunks or even quartered and put in the water like she did, you know, so that it doesn't get black, and just take a few out at a time, like what I do, and I put it in paper towel to kind of dry it, because it's not grated, it's in chunks, so it's easier to dry. And then I just, you know, put it in the
I lost the sound.
That's a great
Okay,
tip.
so what you're saying, Ruth, is possibly kind of reversing the steps that Suzanne did. Cut your potatoes up, put that in the ice water first.
right.
From the ice water, put it into the food processor, and then immediately mix it with the chopped onions and the egg and start doing it,
Right.
which saves you from draining it. That might be a time saver. That might be a time saver. What do you think of that, Suzanne?
Thanks for the tip. We can try it next time and see what happens. Well, this is what it looks like when it's finished.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this so Suzanne can show her latkes. Put it on the paper. Suzanne, put it on the plate so we can look at them on the plate, because it's against the black, so it's hard to.
Okay.
They look homemade.
They look beautiful.
They look and they are so good. Oh, my mouth is watering. Put them right up to the screen, Suzanne. Oh my goodness, they look lovely. Now, if you don't want them shredded like that, you could do it with a different blade, right, Suzanne, if you wanted, on the food processor?
Well, I just find that this is the best blade to use.
Okay.
Honestly. Well, I'm going to make some more because I have all this to use.
That's great. So
I'm getting hungry.
I know that looks luscious. So
Eating them.
did you guys enjoy this? I mean,
Yes.
All right. So what do you want to?
Great.
What do you want to have for a cooking class next? I was thinking challah. I know that takes a lot of time, and Suzanne could definitely make that. She would have to have it staged, of course. She would have to have the yeast dough already risen, and she'd have to have the beginning and the risen dough, but do you think you'd be interested in making challah with Suzanne?
No, and that's too much work for me.
There's too much patscanini, my mom used to say, right? So, yeah, well, maybe there's something else. Suzanne also makes flourless chocolate cake, which is in a spring form pan.
Oh.
And she
No.
makes that, that's again as a pesadika dish because it has no matzo meal, no flour in it whatsoever. It's actually pure chocolate. And she just sprinkles a little confectioner's sugar on the top. You could ice it if you wanted, but it's tasty just the way it is with a little bit of powdered sugar over the top. And Suzanne makes a delicious flourless chocolate cake. So perhaps that could be our next cooking lesson with Suzanne. Now that we've mastered her kitchen and the computer.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being part of this, our initial cooking class with Suzanne. And we wish you a happy Chanukah and a Chag Sameach. And we're recording, so we'll put this up on our website. So if anybody missed any of the pieces, I'll have the recipe up again. And I thank you all. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you, Suzanne.
So much.
Thank you to all of you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, so good.
Here's the recipe again. If you did not finish writing it down, I'll have that up on the recording as well. So
Thank you.
thank you, guys. So Emily, how did yours turn out?
Oh, I'm eating them. They're wonderful.
Oh my
Thank
goodness, she's already eating them.
Thanks, Emily.
That's great. Thank you, guys.
Holy sacraments are forbidden to us. People's prayers go unanswered, confessions unheard.